Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Score Science. My name is Luke and this is the post-match reaction for Everton versus Nottingham Forest. Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Now, there's a few things to talk about today. Now, to say this was an interesting game would be a little bit of an understatement. In all honesty, it was kind of a straightforward game. We did well in terms of defence and midfield. Obviously, in the attacking sense, we were lacking. Forest didn't look like a team that was knowing what it was doing, in all honesty. I'm more than happy to argue that because it's pretty bloody true. They're trying to bed in quite a few players right now, and we're doing somewhat the same. However, in the first half, there was only one and a half or even two players that were sort of getting bedded in at that point in time. Those being Tarkowski and Patterson. They're still sort of getting bedded into the team, but in all fairness, at this point in time, they're at the last stage of the bedding in period, and they should be becoming incremental in the squad. However, watching that game today, I would say, to the God's honest truth, I would say Tarkowski was a bit of a weak link today. Now, I'm not going to say that he was terrible. He wasn't great, but he was not terrible. He was, let's say, he was at the Michael Keane level today in this one. Just for the fact that he was doing a lot of good work. However, he was making errors. Connor Cody was picking up for his mistakes, and that's another one. He's more in that early stage of bedding in versus the likes of Tarkowski and Patterson, but he was making up for Tarkowski's mistakes and was able to make up for them and clear, send them out, or get the ball out to the right people. Because Tarkowski today just seemed a little bit off pace, and you know what? Everyone has a bad game. I'm willing to say that. So whether it's just a simple matter of Tarkowski sort of, you know, taking a step back and resetting himself to sort of go into the next game as the leader that he is, or whether it's this is the adjustment period and then in later games we're going to see much better from him, it's anyone's guess, in all honesty. The next game we've got is Brentford away. Now, Brentford have been hitting quite well. They battered Man U 4-0, so that's going to be an interesting one to see how we cope with them. But in all fairness, I have got a lot more faith in our defence right now rather than last season. Last season our defence was in shambles. This season it's a lot more capable, to say the very least. And as the season clicks on and ticks on and whatnot, I think it's going to get better and better. I'm hoping we can make ourselves into an absolute brick wall. And to tell you the truth, very few players today put too much of a foot wrong. Iwobi was absolute superstar today. Cody was great. Tarkowski was alright. Mikolenko was good. Patterson was great. Who else? Tom Davies actually played surprisingly well. So Tom Davies and Solomon Rondon played 60 minutes today. And they both played really good football. Obviously, Rondon's not an extremely quick player, and he is coming back from his trying to get his match fitness and whatnot. Likewise with Tom Davies, he's coming back from not a great injury. Like I'm not sure. I think he's done his hamstrings in, if I'm not mistaken. But he's coming back from an injury, so as he's coming back, he's going to have more and more coming into the game as time goes on. But as the role went today, he had good efforts. He had a shot go wide. He had a few good passes. He was able to intercept well. Everything about his game today was good. So it's either a player who's putting himself into the window or trying to prove himself to the club to say, you know what, I am the person that you should be keeping hold of. I'm going to prove myself for the future games. He's doing an Iwobi and he's making himself worth our time, which is good, to tell you the God's honest truth, because we definitely need more players like this. Now, Tom Davies himself, he can play as number 6 or number 8. Iwobi obviously is a lot more dynamic, and to be honest, one main thing I did actually see today when it came to Iwobi, when the defence was upfield, when Forest were in possession, he was pulling back and becoming part of the defence. He was making himself part of that defensive line, so he was doing great being a versatile box-to-box midfielder. Now, in terms of the second half, as the game ticked on, so say 45 to 60 minute mark, we were playing very similar football. We were keeping possession. We were pushing through via the attack, and we were making ourselves threatening. The only problem is, as everyone knows, and it's going to be I'm beating the dead horse on this one, we need a striker. This is obvious. Now, Rondon is an okay striker, but he's not Premier League quality, and that was Everton today. He's not fast enough to sort of beat their defence, and let's be honest, Nottingham Forest's defence is a little bit of a mess right now, so with him not being able to beat their defence is a little bit worrisome, especially with us going up against Brentford, Leeds, and the Merseyside derby being at the very beginning of the month. These are the sorts of things we need to try and nip in the bud quickly. If we can get a striker, I don't care what bloody league it comes from, whether it be Spanish, German, French, Italian, Portuguese, bloody Championship. If we get someone, then that's going to be definitely an addition to the squad. We need two strikers, in all fairness. We need two strikers, and to tell you the God's honest truth, in terms of left backs, we've got Mikalenko and Vinagre. In terms of right backs, we've got Patterson and Coleman. In terms of centre backs, we've got a decent variety there. So we've got Tarkowski, Cody, Holgate, Keane, and a couple of the lads in the academy. So if any of them were to fall injury, we've got backup there. Now, you did notice I probably did leave Godfrey and Mina out. They're currently out injured, so it's not worth actually saying, oh yeah, we got them, because we have them right now. Once they're out of the injury issue, then we are definitely going to have them back, and in all fairness, they're probably going to end up playing bench roles for the foreseeable future, just for the fact that, quite frankly, the combination of Holgate, Cody and Tarkowski is a beautiful combination. It's a solid combination, and I'm willing to put money in and say these are the guys who are going to help us stay up this season and possibly get to the mid-table. Now, if we get the two strikers, that's more so, because we are in dire need for two strikers. I've said this. Everyone on the planet has said this who wears a blue shirt, and hell, even some of the pundits have said it who wear red shirts. But yeah, in terms of the second half, as I said, once the 60-minute mark ticked over, we had swapped out Tom Davies and Rondon. So I'm trying to remember who swapped for who. So we brought Tom Davies off, Rondon off, and we brought Onana on. And who's the other one we brought on? We brought on another player. I can't remember who it was though. Player X. We'll call him Player X just because I don't know who it is. It's going to be here. But yeah, once those guys came on, things opened up a little bit. I'll be brutally honest. So Nana, he was on for about, I think it was like 5 or 6 minutes and got himself a yellow card. I want to see that challenge again, because quite frankly, I would like to question it. It almost looked like he stumbled into the player as they were moving, and that gave away the foul. Now, you could say, oh yeah, it's a professional foul, blah, blah, blah. He was trying to play for it. I'm going to argue against it and say, no, he wasn't. Now, Onana, he was a little bit different today rather than his previous game where he was on for only about 10 minutes. He made an error which led to the goal, which, let's be honest, it's a bit to and fro to say he was the one who was the one intentionally making it the goal. It could be down to Tarkowski not being able to mark his man. It can be down to anyone. So we can argue that, and then straight afterwards he was able to bring the ball up the field and pretty much solo the Aston Villa defence and get the ball in for Lucas Digne to score. But in this game he was a little bit more different. He was a little bit more, I would say he was playing the number 6 role more rather than the number 8 role. So what you pretty much saw from him today, he was just trying to break up play and distribute. And to be honest, he was a lot more quieter in this game. But this is what the bedding in period's like. You're going to see very much peaks and troughs in their performance. But as the season ticks on, things are going to get better with him. I've got high faith that he is going to be a brilliant central midfielder, whether it be in the number 6 role or the number 8 role, the number 10 role. Having him in any one of those 3 roles could be very beneficial. In all honesty though, he's more box-to-box sort of midfield, so he's going to be a number 8 in that regard. But yeah, so around the 80th minute mark they scored. It was from a decent shot which Pickford parried wide, which in all fairness, a lot of people are giving him gripe for it, but quite frankly, there's very little you can really say about it, because in a goalkeeper's position, when there's a fast shot coming in, it's very hard to get a grip on the ball. So in that regard, it's a simple situation of either get the ball and parry it wide. All you can do is get a palm on it. You can't get a grab on it when it's going at speed, because chances are it's going to go through the gloves and go in the net. So in that situation, palming it is the safest option. Unfortunately though, the player he palmed it towards was unmarked, and as you probably know from the highlights, they scored. Quite frankly, I feel like Pickford could have got another save off there if he had probably say half a second more time to adjust himself. He would have had a little bit more, just that enough time to actually adjust himself, make himself centred and stop the ball. However, it's in the past now. They scored. We moved on, and from there, Pickford made up for it by making an absolute peach of a cross down the field to Demarai Gray, who was able to get a perfect first touch on it, was able to get it around the keeper and put it into the corner for a 1-1 draw. Now, as the time went on in that game, pretty much from that point on to the very last whistle, we were just peppering at them left, right and centre. Now, there is one person I did have a gripe with today, and that was Anthony Gordon. Now, I'm not saying he's absolute shite or anything like that, because he is a great player. But however, in this game, he was not good. In all honesty, he was not good. His hold-up play was alright. However, his passing was poor, his crosses were poor, his shots were poor. He just wasn't able to provide any form of finishing product. And when Rondon came off, that's where he was. He went into the striking role again. Oh, McNeil. McNeil's the one who came on for Rondon. And McNeil played the wide right, or actually he was playing more of the attacking midfield role. Gordon went up, and Demarai Gray was one of the other wide men. So in that regard, it was the point where, to tell you the God's honest truth, I think if we're going to sell Anthony Gordon, we need to sell him now. Because as time goes on, I think he could settle in and become a better player. But I think he's the person we need to sell in order to bring in two more strikers. Hopefully Idrissa Gueye finally gets bloody, revealed, announced or something, because at this point in time it's getting a bit stupid now. We've been having issues with his severance pay, his his agent fees, his visa. We've had an absolute myriad of bloody excuses. I've had a bloody list so long that I could probably do a cartoon point of it just coming down here at this point of all the excuses. But it's just not on anymore. Either we get him or we move on. That's the point now. We have to either get him or not. I mean, quite frankly, if we don't get him, it's not a huge loss. Onana can play his position. Now, we can't rely on him for every single game, because chances are at some point down the line he's either going to be injured, he's going to make mistakes and have a low point. But for the time being, if we rely on Onana, and then in other games we can rely on either Tom Davies or Allen to play that position, that's great. But Tom Davies is he seems to be coming into his stride now. He is trying to prove us wrong, saying, I'm not shit. I'm going to pull an Iwobi here and become much better than I was prior. And I've got faith that he's going to do that. I hope he does that, because not just for the team, but for himself. Because when you play poor, your mental mind state is all over the show. It is really bad when you're not playing well, because it messes with your head, something serious. But yeah, I think at this point in time now, next game going in, we're going up against Brentford away. So that game is definitely going to be the one we need to go in and just absolutely throw everything with the kitchen sink at them. We need to basically, from the off, the first thing we need to do is just throw everything at them. And then from there, we can work into it. So my personal opinion is get one goal. That's all we need to do. One goal, we get the lead, and then we just close up shop. It's boring football, it's shit football, it's football that people hate, but it's the football we need to be doing for the next couple of games until we go into the Merseyside derby, and then we work with what Liverpool throw at us. But in any case, guys, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. If you liked it, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to my patrons over here or over here. My camera is probably flipped, so chances are it's going to be over here. But yeah, so if you liked any of this stuff and you want to support the channel, why not go over to the Patreon and become a part of the Score Science Superfan. Now, we have got two tiers there. So the first one being the cup of coffee tier. Now, that is essentially just like getting a pound out of your pocket and saying, look, I like what you're doing, mate. Here's £1 on me. Go get yourself a cup of coffee. However, we have got the £3 cup School Science Superfan tier. Now, that has got a few perks and benefits. So the main one being you get early access and ad-free content when it comes to Brand Me More and this sort of stuff. Also, what you get is your name in the sidebar, obviously. And on top of that, you get yourself, after about 3 to 6 months, you get a nice little sticker that's about yay big, which is the School of Science logo. And you can do whatever you want with it. You can put it on your laptop, you can put it on one of your notebooks, you can put it on a lamppost, you can put it outside the cop. You can do whatever you want with it. It's yours to use and abuse. But in any case, guys, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching, and I'm going to see you all next video. Peace.